welcome to episode 1 of the Knit Sibs podcast, a podcast by 3 yarn-obsessed sisters. My name is Julianne.
I'm Gloria.
And I'm Valerie. I'm the oldest sister, and I do as many crafts as I can. I knit, I spin, I embroider. I learned how to sew recently, and we're going to venture into dyeing soon.
My name is Julianne, and I'm the middle sister. I usually go by Julie, and I am a knitter, a spinner, a quilter, a sewer, an embroiderer, aspiring yarn dyer, and I think that's all my crafts.
And I'm Gloria. I'm the youngest sister. I mostly just knit. I'm learning how to crochet. I've done a couple embroidery projects. Oh, and I do paper quilling. I do paper quilling that you guys don't do. So those are my crafts.
Okay, so we're going to start with our first segment. It's going to be off the needles. Val, you want to start with your projects?
So I haven't, during the pandemic, I have not been knitting very much, even though I've been joining a bunch of mystery knit-alongs. And I needed to free up needles to start a new project. So I finally finished a project, although it is not blocked. And the ends are not weaved in either. This is the Knights Who Say Knit mystery knit-along by, I think it was Mary Aranella was the designer.
Lyrical Knits is what she goes by.
Lyrical Knits, that's right. And this is the Barnyard Knits. I have the succulent mini set for the contrast colors, and then she does it was a $20 color of the month that she was doing. That's what the pink is. Now I think it's $22, but this is it in all its glory. And it still needs to be blocked and the ends need to be woven in. And that's really the only thing I finished recently. I do actually have one other secret project that's for one of you that I finished recently that I can't tell you about, but you'll get it when we do it.
I can't wait to see. All right, so I'll go next. So I have 2 recently finished objects. The first one is the Joker and the Thief shawl by Melanie Berg.
I like those colors. That came out good.
Thank you. And it's a Sunshine Yarns mini set for the kind of, I was calling it a dirty rainbow. I don't remember what it was actually called. And then my main color here is Tattered Linen by Lane and Lotus, who's a local to me dyer. So I use her quite a bit. So that's my first finished object. And then my next one is a pair of fingerless mitts that's going to go to our mom for Christmas. She's crochet mama. I finished them already. Well, they're tiny. Yeah. I mean, it's just mitts.
Okay.
It's like knitting a sock, you know. So it's a nice little broken rib pattern. I don't know if it's coming through here very well, but it's it was fingering weight and a mohair together. I actually have the 2 skeins because I love how different it looks in the skeins. So this is it in the skeins, and then this is it knit up. So it just mutes the color so much.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. So that's my 2 finished. Oh, and this was a kit from a local yarn store to me called Margie's Yarn Crafts, and she had these available during a recent shop hop that was going on. So this was her little shop hop kit. So that's my projects.
Okay, well, my recently finished project I am wearing. So I don't know how much of it you can see in the picture there, but it is the Simple Hug Cardi by Cozy Up Knits. It is knit in Lion Brand yarn. It's Heartland Lion Brand yarn. It's 100% acrylic, which is not what I normally use. I had bought this yarn for a different project and that project didn't work out. And then I decided that I desperately needed to make a garment. I've been making a lot of shawls and I really wanted to make a sweater. So I had enough yarn to make a sweater. So I think we'll be posting some pictures on Instagram, so you'll get some better pictures of it because I am already in my after work comfy clothes. So there'll be some better pictures, but I knit it. It's meant to be an oversized cardigan, and I went a size up because I wanted it to be really big. I want it to be really big and comfy. And I also knit it, if you can see, I made the wrong side the right side. So, you know, it's kind of inside out. And I really like the look of that. I think it gives it, I didn't trim the ends there. A peek behind the curtain. So I think it gives it, if you can see, I think it gives it like a little bit more interest, using the kind of the wrong side as the right side. So that's my recently finished project. Oh, and I tried steam blocking for the first time with this project, because, you know, acrylic doesn't really wet block very well. So I tried steam blocking, and I think it worked pretty well. I did wear this out on Saturday night, was my anniversary, so anniversary weekend. So I did wear it out to dinner. So the fibers have kind of, I don't know what to say, but they've kind of shifted a little bit since I did the steam blocking. So I think I'm gonna have to do it again, because the collar, I feel like the collar, because it's inside out, I feel like the collar is like flipping out. And you know, so I'm trying to keep it more flat, and I feel like the steam blocking really did help a lot, but I feel like it's starting to do it again, and I don't know if that's just gonna happen no matter what, or if there's anything I can do about it. So if anybody that's watching has any tips on blocking acrylic, I welcome your tips. So
so since you've blocked it, do you feel, since you wore it out, do you feel like it's stretching at all or anything, or is it keeping it shaped pretty well?
it might be a little bit, because I noticed
'Cause it's a big, heavy cardigan, right?
It's not heavy, but it is very big. But I noticed one of the ends at the shoulder did pop out. So it definitely is stretching, and I feel like the little sleeves here are stretching out a little bit too. So it might just need like a freshen up steaming every so often, just to kind of get it back in shape. So like I don't really use acrylic all that much, so I don't know what to expect from it as far as stretching and that kind of stuff. So that is my recently finished object.
And it's beautiful.
And I love it.
Okay, so our next segment is on your needles. Val, what's on your needles now?
So the first thing I'm going to show you is a mystery knit. So if you don't want to see what the Just Beachy looks like, turn away. But it is a mystery knit along by Paper Daisies, and it's a 6-clue knit along, and I have almost finished up to the 4th clue. So this is the yarn I'm using is, I think it's called Fiber Optic. Yeah, it's Fiber Optic yarn. It's a Superwash Merino Cashmere and Nylon blend. That's the label. And it's again minis. It was 7 minis and 2 skeins of the main yarn. So this is clues. That's back. Yeah, that's backwards. This is clues 1, 2, and 3. It kind of started as a triangle, and then it like continued on one side, but not the other. So it's like a lopsided triangle. And then
was that yarn a kit for the?
So it was
make along.
Yeah, I ordered it as a kit for this, but it looks like she sells the main skeins and then the minis as separate. So you could get the yarn outside of the kit. The minis were called Ice Age, and the main skein is called Kelpie. So it's all greens and blues fading to white. And then this is clue 4, almost finished. And it's another big triangle. And I cannot figure out the construction of this, this shawl. I have no idea how these are going to fit together.
Yeah,
So
well,
for
can I just say that I am making this one too. I don't have mine with me to show you, but I'll talk about it a little bit. But the first, like the pre-clue, like swatching guide that she gave was on the bias. Like she had you
So-
swatch on the bias. So there's got to be something in there
so
that is on the bias.
this
I
side
think
of
they're
the triangle
gonna
is bound
connect on
off.
the bias.
So this is bound off. These are live stitches. And then I think at the end of clue 5, the other triangle will have the same number of live stitches as this. So I think we like turn this upside down, like, and then they connect this way with like,
That's what
On the
I
bottom.
said.
That's what I said with the parallelogram. We had drawings going back and forth between us in text messages on what this could possibly look like. But I think it's going to be like a parallelogram in the middle with the 2 triangles
Yeah.
on either side.
yeah, but then there's also the chance that we're gonna do one of those like fill in the triangle
Yeah.
things, like between the 2. And I've already done 2 mystery knit-alongs that had fill in the triangles, so I'm hoping for something a little different. So I'm hoping
Yeah,
for the,
that's been done a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like whenever they say it's unique construction, it means you're going to join 2 triangles together.
yeah.
And it's like, that's not unique anymore.
We will be joining the triangles together, but I hope it's not in the fill in the triangles way. I hope it's in a parallelogram way. So I'm
Right,
excited
right.
to see. I'm still like, there's no clear answer for what this will look like. So I'm excited to see it. And then I have another project that I'm working on. My son had asked me to knit him a scarf. So I spun yarn for this. And I'm knitting him a scarf. It's like just a bias knit scarf. I forget what it's called. Let me look.
Slanting
That's good.
striped scarf.
Okay, so and I think that was on the Pearl Soho website. I found it. So it's just 4 rows of the main color and then 2 rows of that contrasting color. So I think that's the right side.
Nice.
Spun, the variegated color is from Southern Cross Fibers. And I had it in my stash for at least 10 years. And then this I got from Etsy. I can't remember the name of the seller, but it has all these little, you see like the little yellow neps in it.
Yep.
Those, there were at least like quadruple the amount in the fiber when I was spinning it, and it went all over my house. And then when I plied it, they went all over my house again. And then I washed it and I lost a lot of them. And now in the knitting, I'm losing them as well. So, I mean,
Aw.
you could see, I have very like few of them, and the ones that are holding on, I think they're gonna disappear soon too.
Mm.
But I really like the way that the color is shifting in this. And I think I have enough fiber that I could make him a hat as well. But we'll see. Hopefully that'll
Very
get done with
cool.
that. I've been very slow in my finishing.
All right, so
Julie,
I think I'm up next. And I have, I think, 3 projects. So my first one is just a pair of socks. I am probably the most avid sock knitter of the 3 of us, especially with this summer. I got into the summer sock camp knit along, and so I've been knitting socks like crazy. So this is my current pair, and this is from Murray and Company, and that will probably be backwards, and I don't know how to flip it, so sorry.
It's frontwards for me.
What?
Yeah, I can
It's
read it.
frontwards for me.
Oh, perfect, because it's backwards for me. That's weird. So this was a mystery sock set, and it is called Fold in the Cheese, and it's from Schitt's Creek. So,
I've been of the last like 2 months. So.
so this one, I
That
mean,
is the best scene from that entire
I
show.
know, I
Like
know.
that entire 6 seasons, that is the best scene from that show.
So this pair is
Or
going.
the I like the wine, not the label. That's
Yes.
So the color is not showing so great. Actually, like all my colors are off here. Like my shirt is yellow and it's coming out green. But this is a very orangey color. It's like mac and cheese orange. And then the main sock color is sorry, my computer's doing weird things. There we go. The main sock color is the color of David's sweater and the apron that he's wearing. And if you look it up, it's like a perfect match. It is so cute. So I'm gonna do heels, toes, cuffs in the orange, and then the rest of it in the main color. So that's my first project. And I just do a plain vanilla sock with a fish lips kiss heel. So that's my socks. And then I have a long-standing crochet project that I just started picking up again, mainly because I need the space. It takes up a lot of room where I keep my works in progress, and I just kind of want to get it done. So this is a Battenberg blanket.
Nice.
So I'm trying not to talk with it in front of me. Apparently that's very, like, people who are reading lips need to be able to see our face. So I'm trying to let it focus and see the stuff and then talk after. But so this is done with an Advent mini set from Plies and Hellhounds, and it was her Throne of Glass colorways. And so what I did was I have like a rectangle here that has like the whitish color is the mini from the Advent set. Then this is the main color full skein that we got in the Advent set, which I did buy more of because I know I'm going to need more than just one. So far with what I have, I am about halfway done with my minis. So I'm going to have to put a rather substantial border on this to make it be like a usable size blanket.
Mhm.
But it's just something I pick up every once in a while and work on, and I enjoy it. So that was project number 2. And then project number 3 is my social distancing shawl.
Okay.
So this is by Lucinda Iglesias, and she, I believe, is the owner of Montrico, right?
Yes. Yeah. She is.
So this is one that Gloria convinced us all to make. So she enabled us. She texted us pictures and said, I really want to get this. Someone talked me out of it. And then we all wound up buying kits for it. So
I think it was like the night before election night or something.
yeah.
it was a rough night.
we were all a little concerned. We were all just distracting ourselves with yarn purchases. So mine is made with Brooklyn tweed shelter. This one is called Hayloft. And again, it's much more yellow than it's showing up on the screen. And then it's Spin Cycle in between. And so the Spin Cycle I have, this first one is very subtly shifting. So it goes from a red to like a red and an orange, and now it's turning to red and black. So it's very subtle, but my second one, so there's 3 different colors of Spin Cycle. My second color of Spin Cycle, I'm really excited to get to because that one has a lot of variation.
Oh.
So I think that one's gonna look real pretty. And then my
So what
third
size needle
color,
have that on?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What size needles do you have that on?
Let's see if it's on here.
I think it calls for a 7, and
Oh yeah, mine are on a 9.
Okay,
So
because
I,
7 and it's very dense.
yes,
Mine too. Yeah. So I might rip it out too.
Yeah, mine, so it was really dense. The I-cord edging here was really tight. It still is very tight, but it was like pulling the whole thing in really tight. And when I got to the width that it's going to be, so right here are the corners. So I got to that width and I measured it and it was like 10 inches and it's supposed to be 18. So I went up to a 9. It made it much more drapey. So when I went and measured it, when I got to that point again, I ripped the whole thing back and started over. I think I'm at like 17 inches. So with a good blocking, it should make it at least to 18, if not more. So my only concern is running out of yarn, but the way the pattern's written, like you go until you run out of this color of Spin Cycle, and then you do the next thing until you run out of the next color. So it's not like I'm gonna not be able to finish the pattern. It just may not be as long as I wanted it.
Right. Right.
So,
And it's called the social distancing wrap, so it's meant to be 6 feet long.
right,
So you'll still get a substantial size of it, even if it's not 6 feet long.
right,
So
right. And yeah, I wanted something nice and big to, I feel like, so I don't make that many garments. I've made a lot of shawls, but I've made a lot of like medium-sized ones. And I wanted like a big, like blanket size one that I could wrap around myself. I spend a lot of time in ice rinks with the kids. So I wanted to have something I could really wrap around myself because all I do is wear sweatshirts. And I'm like, I'm a knitter. I need to wear knitted items once in a while. So that was my plan for this. So that is all of my current projects. Gloria, what's on your needles?
My turn. So I think I only brought one upstairs here to show you guys. So the one that I'm working on right now, my main project is actually a test knit, which I am super excited about because it's my first time ever test knitting. It is by Katie DeGroff, and it is called the Gutter Flower Shawl. I believe it's a Google Dolls reference, song reference. But this is what it looks like. So you can
Very
see there's
pretty.
a lot of texture here. I'm not kind of figuring out how to do this. There's a lot of texture there. Then you stripe in your contrast colors. Then there's this lacy section with the contrast colors. I go back to this texture stitch. And then I'm going to have more contrast colors. So it is knit in Emma's yarn, which I'm slightly obsessed with right now. A lot of Emma's yarn in my, you can see a little bit of my stash back here. A lot of Emma's yarn in my stash right now. The main color is called Tealicious. And the contrast colors that I'm using, it's a set of 12 mini skeins. And it's the Emma's Practically Perfect sock yarn bundle. It's bundle number
8. I've got the
bundle
notes
number
up,
8.
so it's 8.
So they have a few of these like mini skein bundles, and it's not a fade, it's not a gradient, it's just kind of a set of colors that they put together. So I'm using the bundle number 8, and I'm using Tealicious as my main color, which is, as you can see, is giving a lot of contrast. So I don't know when the pattern is going to be made available. I've been test knitting this about 2 weeks now, and this has been my main project. But I am also working on the Just Beachy knit along. I have like 20 projects in the works right now, if I actually counted them all. So I'm trying to pick some to actually get off the needles. So this test knit is my main project right now. I am also working on the Just Beachy. I am using one of the Miss Babs sets. Miss Babs is my other obsession. That was my early pandemic obsession. Emma's Yarns is my 2021 pandemic obsession. So I'm using the Bonfire on the Beach set from Miss Babs. It has a blue main color, and it has like gold and pink as the contrast colors. I think still on clue 2. I haven't finished the first triangle that Val has. So I'm still on clue 2. And then I also have a super secret project in the works that I can't talk about. And I have another project that's going to become a main project, that's something that's been on the needles that I'm going to make for one of my nieces. So that's going to become a main project. So I will talk about that one next time, because I've started it, stopped it, and now I'm going to pick it back up again.
Exciting. All right, our next segment is called In the Spotlight. And what we're going to do is each week, we're each going to pick out one hand knit item from the past and kind of feature it and say whether we still wear it, whether we liked it, just kind of give a little review of the item. So this week I'm going to go first, and mine I'm wearing right now, and that is called the Miette Shawl also by Cozy Up Knits. We apparently have a Cozy Up Knits thing going on. So it's a triangular shawl. The thing that makes it different for me is that it's a DK weight, and most of the shawls that I've knit have been fingering weight. So you can see it starts with this beautiful lace cable-y looking pattern. And then it goes into some garter ribs here, goes back to the lace, and then it starts striping in another color. And then you get this funky stitch that I absolutely love.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I think the powder wrap by Casapinka has the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
I
haven't
started
looked
that
at it
one
very
too.
well.
That's on the
I
needle.
I don't that's on the needles. I don't remember the yarns. I don't remember all of the yarns I used, but I do remember that I really wanted to feature this one. I don't know how well it's going to show up, but this purpley golden color in here that's like the garter ridges. It's actually, that's like the main place where it is on the garter ridges. And that was a Lane and Lotus yarn. And I think the colorway was called Basic Witch. And then I don't remember who the gray was. And then I think this peachy pinky color. I think this was Fuse Fiber Arts, which was a local to me dyer who's gone out of business. But I absolutely love it. I wear it. It's probably my most worn shawl. So I don't know why I don't make more DK weight. I think I was afraid it was going to be heavy and uncomfortable, but it's just like the perfect weight. It's a nice size that I'll take it with me when I'm going to go to like my kids play sports. So when they do like a lacrosse game or something, I'll bring it with me. And if I'm wearing it, sometimes the other kid will take it and use it as like a blanket, and it's held up really well. It's been washed a lot. And I love it. It's one of my favorite knits. So that's my Miette shawl by Cozy Up Knits.
Very nice.
Yeah. So our next segment is In Your Dreams. So what is your dream knitting, your yarn purchases that you've made lately that you maybe will eventually use? Maybe they'll live in your house forever as yarn. Who knows? But Val, you can go first.
So my in my dreams is more tools than it is yarn, but I do have some yarn to talk about too. So I really need a new set of interchangeable needles. So I've been shopping around for those. And if anyone has any ideas for a really great set of needles, let me know. I did put, I'm starting to build my wish list for Christmas. We're going to try to get some of our shopping done early this year. I did put a set on there. It was I don't know how to say it, the Chiago.
I call it Choigu.
Choigu. Well, I put a set of them on my wish list because they seem to be, I got a couple of sets of their needles and I really like them. One had the cable, one has the cable that like spins, and then the other does not. So
I've heard about those.
The spinny cables?
Yeah.
So I'm using the spinny cables for the Just Beachy. Let me see if I could show it. And I do really like it because the cable doesn't get twisted at all. You see it?
Uh-huh.
The join. But the issue is I was knitting something that needed to really smoothly go over the join and it couldn't. You know, it has like a little dip in there. So it was getting stuck. So
and it doesn't have the red cable. Is that clear cable as good as their red cable?
I think the red cable might be better.
Yeah. Does it have any memory to it?
No, it doesn't get like twisted or anything. It's great as far as that goes, but it's the join that's the issue.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the red cables don't get twisted.
Yeah. Okay. I'm also knitting with some Knit Picks interchangeable needles, and those cables keep getting tangled and twisted and everything. And they keep coming unscrewed. So I'm looking for.
Yeah. The Knit Picks are, I don't know. They fall apart for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had a bunch of them fall apart.
Yeah.
And I have the full Choigu set and I love it.
Well, it's on my list right now.
Yeah.
And I'm also looking for some spinning tools. So I want a wraps per inch tool. I don't know how I've been spinning for like 13 years and I don't yet have a wraps per inch tool.
Yeah, seriously, it's like $5.
Yeah. So I've been looking on Etsy for some, and I'm looking for just one of those like basic squares to measure your gauge for your swatches. I don't tend to swatch. I don't tend to knit anything that requires swatching. So I don't have one of those either. Yeah, so I want something to measure my gauge swatch, because I really don't do a lot of things that require swatches, but with my hand spun, I do want to have a little bit more of an idea if I'm trying to match a yarn to a commercial yarn or something like that, or match a hand spun to a pattern. I think it's important that I start measuring my gauge and stuff like that. But then as far as yarn, I've actually been looking a lot more at fiber than yarn. So I just made a purchase from Three Water Farms that I'm super excited about. I haven't spun any of their fiber yet. And I'm looking at, what's that yarn that I sent the other day that I said I loved, the hand dyed, was it Hue Loco? They have the sock set with like the 2 different color minis that go with the main color. Her colors are just so beautiful. So that's the one I've really been drooling over the most lately.
Very cool.
What are your fantasy purchases, Julie?
Well, so I have a project that I'm going to start soon, and that is the Westnitz Shellography. I haven't done any of his knit-alongs before. I was really not into knit-alongs until the pandemic started, and Gloria got us buying kits of yarn for the knit-alongs, and then I did the.
You're blaming it all on me.
It is
I think I've only done one mystery knit-along pre-pandemic.
Yeah. So it was, we did the Night to Say Knit, and then we did what was the baking one called?
We did Dark Baking Mad.
Dark Baking Mad. So we did those 2 since the pandemic started. So this is going to be my first Westnitz, and I am actually using yarn from my stash, which I'm super proud of myself for. So I have Silver Key Stitches in a color called Happy Trees. I have a Homespun House in After All This Time, which is like one of my most loved skeins of yarn ever. So I'm glad to finally use it. It's a Harry Potter inspired yarn. I have, and it's starting to unravel here, another Homespun House called Velvet. That one's a mess. I have another Homespun House in Hopscotch. This is a very bright pink. And then I have Meg's & Co. in a color called Sippin' on Sunshine. So those are going to be my colors for the Shellography. So let's see if I am talented enough to pick them all up at once. Possibly.
Nice.
So that's my color palette for Shellography.
Very
I can't wait
colorful for a Westnitz knit.
It's just, so normally I wouldn't go so crazy colorful all in one thing. I like to have grays and neutrals in my knits, but it's Westnitz. You got to go big.
You gotta
right?
play with color.
So, and they were just like, I put them together and I just loved it. So I was like, all right, this is going to be my shawl. So that's what I'm planning on making. And then I have another thing that I don't have the yarn for, so we're going to have to see if this gets started. But this book motif from Knit Picks, my daughter loves this sweater on the cover. It's called The Triangular Sweater by Emma Boyd. And my daughter's 13, and she's very into a style called cottagecore, which is very homey, very like think of woodland creatures when you think of cottagecore. It's mushrooms and foxes and all that fun stuff. So she wants to start wearing some hand knit sweaters. So the only thing that's stopping me from that is that I'm currently on a yarn buying ban. So starting August 20th of 2021, which is when I stopped the shop hop in my local area. I said, okay, I'm not buying any more yarn because I have too much yarn. I have more yarn than I could probably use in a very long time, and I've run out of room to store it. So it's starting to make me uncomfortable that I have this yarn just sitting everywhere in my house. So I'm on a yarn buying ban, and I'm trying to make it a year. So far, I've done good. I send Val.
So far, it's the end of September.
It's a month. It's been a long time, and it's been a month. Like it's been a long month. So the kids are back at school. All the craziness is starting. Hockey started again. I would normally be buying yarn like crazy. So I'm very proud of myself. I made it this long. I did just make a purchase today, like right before they started podcasting. But it was not yarn, it was fiber. So one of my goals, don't roll your eyes at me.
I don't know if this counts or not.
Well, one of my purposes for doing this too is I want to be more intentional with my making. So I want to spend longer time making things instead of just trying to rush and get it done. So I want to start spinning for projects and intentionally, making yarn to go for a project. So I bought some yarn with no project in mind. So not at all intentional, but it was from a fiber person that it's really hard to get yarn from Inglenook Fibers. So I was like, I saw it, let me pick it up, and at least it'll start me hopefully back up spinning again, so I can start with this intentional making. Yeah, so that's all my dream crafting. What's in your dreams, Glor?
So I also bought yarn for the West Knits Shawlography. I bought yarn for the Slip Stravaganza last year and never made the Slip Stravaganza because I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. So I didn't do it. But I think I'm going to do it after the fact. So my Shawlography yarn is from Surprise Emma's Yarn. So I got, my colors are, I have a light gray. I don't know if you can see, a light gray. I have like a off-white color. I have a dark gray, charcoal color. And then I have two color pops. So the thing is, I have already put skein socks, yarn socks on my skein. So I don't know how well you can see the color, but these are, she calls them skein coats. So I've recently become very, I'm not going to say obsessed, but intrigued by skein coats. And so I had one that Val had gotten us a couple years ago. And it's a real nice, like very like spandexy type of material, and it fits well over the skein. So I wanted more of them, but the person that Val had gotten them from, I don't think, you said is not in business anymore. So I found this other person on Etsy. It's called Precious Knits. So I put them on, and you can see there's a little like extra fabric here when you put it on the skein. So I'm not that upset about it, but it's a little, there's like a lot there.
Yeah.
The top is not so bad and it kind of holds it well. But I feel like there's a lot there on the bottom. But this one has mushrooms. So Kaylee would like it. It's very,
very cottage
core.
Yep.
Okay, as the kids say. And this is like a red color. I don't know how well you can see that red there. And then my last color is another color pop. I put another skein coat on there.
Oh, I like that one.
Flowers, it's really pretty. And this one is a gold color. So I have grays, off-white, and then two color pops with my Shawlography. I also got you guys each a skein coat.
Oh,
so
thank you.
Next time we see each other, I will give you a skein coat. So that's my first in my dreams, is that I'm actually going to do this knit along. So that's in my dreams. The second in my dreams is similar to Julie's, although not quite as extreme. So I am also doing a yarn buying ban. Because I went a little crazy during the pandemic buying yarn.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. It got a little bit out of control. So I'm trying to finish some of the projects that I have on my needle. So because of course, once I bought the yarn, I had to start a project with it. So I have about, not kidding, 20 projects on the needles. So I'm trying to finish up some of those. And my yarn buying ban is till the end of the year. So if I can make it till the end of December, without buying any yarn, I'm considering that a win. My last purchase was on September 2nd. So I've made it.
I feel like you should stand up and be like, my name is Gloria. My last
is
yarn
Gloria.
purchase was
I
September
am
2nd.
addicted to buying yarn, but I'm trying. And I've made it 28 days.
I am not going on
buying
a
any yarn.
I feel like
So-
I didn't buy as much during the pandemic as you guys did. It really took me until like, pretty recently that I started buying a lot of yarn.
Yeah.
So I'm not going on a yarn diet, but I did it was also my anniversary this weekend. So Gloria and I have our wedding days are one day apart. And years.
And a
but,
few
like,
years.
and a few years, like a day apart. So I did go to a yarn store on my anniversary and I bought some yarn. So my last purchase was just a couple of days ago.
Mhm.
And I'm okay with it.
That's fine. That's fine
Yeah,
for
and that's-
you. If
that's what
the
it is,
lifestyle
like-
you want to live, that's fine for you. But
No, my stash isn't as big as yours, like the two of you, but I did also just do a huge purge maybe 6 months ago, and I got rid of like 2 big garbage bags full of yarn, and then I sent Julie you a bunch of fiber.
Yeah.
So I made some room for my spinning stuff, and then you sent me a bunch of fiber. So
Sorry.
I filled them up.
Yeah, but
well,
that's
I tend to buy a lot of kits.
Yeah.
So like I will buy if somebody puts a kit together for a project, I'm buying it. Like
Mhm.
I'm buying it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm buying
Yeah.
it.
Well,
So
did you guys see the kits for the Turn the Corner shawl?
Oh my God, don't even.
Oh, corner shawl.
That's the one that looks like little check marks on the back of the shawl.
Oh, okay.
I think it was
love it.
Telly Bean. Is it Telly Bean?
Jelly bean, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, those kits are awesome. If someone makes a Grella one, like the grays and yellows, I'm in trouble, but I haven't seen one yet. So
Yeah. Well, I have a few things on my list of if somebody needs to buy me a gift. I have some ideas there.
yeah.
But my last in my dreams is some hand dyed yarn. So I don't know if we
Oh.
want to talk about how me and Julie have experimented with some yarn dyeing, and we have plans in a couple weeks to do some
I
yarn
happen
dyeing
to be
altogether.
wearing my hand dyed socks right now.
Oh.
I'm not going to lift my feet up and show you because I'm wearing LuLaRoe Aladdin genie tights right now, or leggings right now. So I'm not going to do that to you, but I will take one off and show you our last dyeing adventure.
We
So
did pretty good.
we did pretty good. So I've been wearing these all day, so they're a little stretched out. But we made fades.
Yeah.
Like we wound up buying, I don't know, 16 mini skeins I think we were playing with. And we were going to have a dye day with all of us, and it didn't happen. So it wound up being me and Gloria. Sorry, Val. And this is actually missing one color of the fade because the way that we split the yarn, I wound up with like 2 of this one and 2 of this one, and only 1 of the 2 middle ones. So this sock has 1 of the middle ones. The other sock has the more yellow.
Yeah, but the
one.
middle, I mean, the 2 middle colors were very similar. Like,
No,
like,
it was the yellow and the middle yellow were very
Oh,
similar. And then
okay,
we had this and then the magenta.
okay.
So this was our first ever yarn dyeing experiment with me and you. I've dyed before.
Yeah.
But this is our first experiment. And then we're going to get together soon and do some more yarn dyeing. Anyone want
Yeah.
to talk about that?
Sure. Who wants to talk about it? You want me to talk about it?
Sure.
Well, so this time we bought full skeins, and we're gonna play with some full skeins. We also, I think Val got some roving.
Yeah, I got like
Um,
a pound or 2 pounds. I don't remember. I don't know. I got some oatmeal and some natural colored fiber. So we're gonna do some spinning fiber as well.
And then we got a couple sock blanks, I believe. So we're gonna just experiment with that. We got some new colors. When me and Julie dyed together, we had just kind of the basic colors, but I ordered some new colors. We got a mauve, a teal, purple, I think was in there.
I think there was an orange.
an orange. I don't remember what we ordered, but we ordered a bunch of new, I think we each got two.
Mhm.
And
new
I
colors.
that I'm bringing as well, like an olive, and I don't remember what else. But
Yeah, so we're gonna play with some full skeins, and then after we dye up our yarn, we are going to do a little giveaway on our podcast. So we after the yarn is dyed and we can show you what it looks like, we're gonna host a giveaway on our podcast. So somebody will get a hand dyed Knit Sibs Novice Masters hand dyed skein of yarn. So we call ourselves, our yarn line is going to be called the Novice Masters.
And this is our
Me
In
and
the
Julie-
Dreams yarn line. So
What's that?
this is our In the Dreams yarn line.
Yes, it's in our dreams. When I open a yarn store and we carry our exclusive yarn line
Yeah.
of Novice Masters, because me and Julie were so impressed with ourselves at how well we dyed yarn. We called ourselves masters, but we were novice dyers. So we're novice.
Well, what happened was at the end of our dye day, we decided to mix everything together and see what we wind up with. And we wound up with the most beautiful skein of this, like, it was mostly steel gray with a little blue in it. And then we put like a pop of orange on the very end, on the where the yarn turned in the pan. And it turned out beautiful. And we were like, we're novice masters.
Because
So
we're pretty good at it.
we are very good at it.
So we're going to try it again, and then we are going to host a little giveaway so that anyone who is watching or wants to watch can win a skein of our hand-dyed yarn.
Yeah, so we'll probably, so right now, real time for us, it's September 30th. We are dyeing yarn October 16th, I believe, right? And Crochet Mama's coming down for that. So, because she was very upset we left her out last time. So she's gonna come and she's gonna provide us with food. She's bringing quiches and bean dip. So it'll be nice. And so probably our next episode, we will announce like the official opening of the giveaway. And it'll most likely be on Instagram. I know not everyone is on Instagram, but that is our social media of choice right now, is Instagram. So we're going to probably host it on Instagram. But more details coming probably in our next episode. So our next segment is our outlier crafts. So what have you been doing other than knitting and crocheting? I have not been doing much of anything. I do have some embroidery projects started, but I honestly haven't picked any up in the last like 2 weeks. So when I pick them up again, I'll talk about them then. So Val, what have you been working on?
So I have been dreaming about spinning. I haven't been doing a lot of spinning, but I've been thinking about it. So I joined an online like educational platform, like online School of Sweet Georgia. They have like classes that you could take, and what I kept seeing advertised was one that was spinning for socks, and I do want to spin some sock yarn. And then they advertised the spinning study group and like nuances of spinning. So I got all excited about being a better spinner. So I joined School of Sweet Georgia about a week and a half ago. I have not yet watched anything, but I'm excited to.
So what is the platform like? Is it like Craftsy where there's like individual classes and you?
So there are courses. So it's not so much an individual like one-time webinar. There are courses that you could sign up and do in real time, and then they have associated forums with them, and I'm not super familiar with it yet, but you could go back and do them at any time. So the spinning study group started a couple of weeks ago, but I'm going to start it from week 1. So I don't know, let's say week 6 or something like that. I'll start at week 1. So as I go into the forums to talk about things, it's not as many people doing it at once, at least I imagine it'll be like. But you could go back and you can do anything at any time, and you could do just the educational piece of it, or you could join in on the forums. It seems like they really want it to be like a whole community thing. So I'll report back next time when I actually get to do a little bit more of it. But like you, I've been thinking about being more intentional with what I make. I tend to sit down at the wheel and like whatever happens to come out comes out. So I've been playing a little bit more with trying to get the colors to be more intentional on my hand spun yarn and have them, you know, plan out a yarn and have it actually look like I want it to look. Being a little more even in my spinning and being able to spin for like a target weight. I also want to learn how to make loftier yarns because my yarns tend to be a little dense. So I want nice, fluffy, lofty yarns. So hopefully I'll learn a little bit and I can report back. And then my other outlier craft is embroidery. So we have a sailboat and I have an embroidery wall on my sailboat. It sounds a lot fancier than it is, but I have all of these. Can you see that?
Yes.
I have all of these designs by this company called Hookline Tinker. They're from Nova Scotia. And I'm trying to expand my embroidery wall for next year. This is another one that I just started. It's like a little paper hat. And then I have some hoops that I just need to finish. So I finished my embroidery hoops with some felt on the back. Like I sew the felt on. So I made like, this was all I was able to focus on during the pandemic. I made like 700 little rainbows. So I need to finish some of them. So I have a bunch of those hanging around so hopefully I'll get some finishing done soon.
Very nice. Gloria, any outlier crafts for you?
No.
No.
I've been working. So
Yeah.
that's about it.
All right, so our next thing is on the nightstand. So we obviously, if you haven't caught on, spend a lot of time texting back and forth about our knitting and our yarn purchases and our enabling of each other. Our other little thing that we all have in common that we spend a lot of time doing is reading. We are all members of Book of the Month Club. And so every month when their new books come out, we kind of go in a frenzy of who's getting what book. And then when we meet up, which unfortunately isn't as often as we'd like, especially with the pandemic, maybe once or twice a year, we bring all of our books and we swap them. And so between the three of us, we usually get most of the books from Book of the Month each month. And then we have our other purchases because we still like to go to indie bookstores and Barnes and Noble and whatnot. So we all have a lot of books, which is another thing I'm trying to be more intentional with my purchases about because I have an overflowing bookcase, but
And
I don't think it's gonna
think
stop.
I don't think any of us keep our books, right? I don't keep anything that I've read.
I
Once
keep a
buy it.
handful, like there's some that really,
Yeah, like special books, but in general, I don't.
Yeah, I keep a handful of them, but
all right. So Val, what are you reading right now? Or what have you recently finished?
So I have one that I recently finished and then one that I just started. I haven't had a 5-star read in a while on Goodreads. So if anyone has any suggestions for anything phenomenal, please let me know. This one I just finished, The People We Keep by Alison Larkin. It was cute. There were parts of it that I really liked. It had some really beautiful lines in it, but then there were parts that I wasn't as excited about. And this is one that I just started. So Survive the Night by Riley Seeger. So usually when the Book of the Month books are announced, we know who's going to get what. So Gloria's always going to get the thriller. Julianne's going to get like the retelling of something, or maybe a romance.
rom-com.
I'll usually get like something that's a little heavier, like a historical fiction, or if there's something with like magical realism, I'll get that. I really like literary fiction. So like we all kind of have like what we gravitate towards, and this is definitely a Gloria book. So, but I don't know how I wound up with this one instead of you. But these were both Book of the Month books. You see the little corner logo, and I'm working really hard on finishing. They have Book of the Month has a challenge that you finish your 12 books for the year and you get a pair of socks, and I am working really hard to get my socks. I think Julie, you already got yours, right?
Mine is in my cart, so once I put my order in for this month, they're going to be shipped, so I can't wait. So their requirement is you have to read 12 books that you got from them you have to read
I think 5 different
5
genres.
different genres, and you have
And-
to read 3 debut novels. So
So I have everything fulfilled with the exception of the actual number of books. So I think I read 5 debuts. I read all of the genres. So I just have 11 books. So Survive the Night will be my 12th.
yay.
What are you reading?
I just finished Last Summer at the Golden Hotel by
Oh, which you
Elizabeth
got from
Murray,
me, right?
which I got
think
from you,
yeah.
yes. Yeah. So I just finished this one, and this was I enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't a 5-star, it was a 4-star for me. But it's basically like Dirty Dancing hotel, like 40 years later. Like it's starting to get run down, and who's going to run it, and it's owned by 2 families, and just a cute little story. So I enjoyed that. I am currently reading 2 books. This one, My Monticello by Jocelyn Nicole Johnson. And this one, this is an ARC copy, so advanced reader copy that I won on a giveaway on Goodreads. We're all on Goodreads, and we all kind of ridiculously keep track of what books we read and everything like that. So this one I won, and this is part of my attempt to be more diverse with my reading. So this is a collection of short stories. And the first one was a letter by a Black man to his son. And I'm just starting the second one now. So it's, a chance to open my eyes a little bit. I'm really enjoying it so far, but it is heavy, and I am going through a crazy work time and everything right now. So I'm not always able to concentrate and deal with heavy. So it's kind of, I read a story, and then I read a light book, and then I come back and read another story. And then I think the last story is more of a novella type story. It's half the book is the last one. And I'm really looking forward to that one. I'll report on it after I read it, but it's the one that I'm most excited about. And then the other book I'm reading right now is The Bookish Life of Nina Hill.
I read that one.
You read that one already?
I did it on audiobook though.
Oh, okay. Did you read it, Val?
I read it. Yeah, it was
Then
cute.
how do I own it then if you both read it already?
I think I got it for free on Amazon or something, and I did
Okay.
book.
Okay. Well, I just started it. I'm 30 pages in, but
I think there's a book of the month reference in the book.
Yes.
Oh, really?
There's a reference to Book of the Month Club in the book. Yeah.
There was the very opening scene is her in a bookstore. She works in a bookstore, and someone walks in and is trying to return Pride and Prejudice because she thought it was too boring. And Pride and Prejudice is by far my favorite book. I will read any retelling of it. It's just it's my book. And then she gets all offended because they take the book and they throw it in their book bag, in their purse, and bend the edges of the pages. And she's like, it's so disrespectful. So I was like, all right, I get this, lady. I can keep reading this book for sure. Not that I ever give up on a book. I rarely give up on books. But yeah, that's what's on my nightstand right now. What about you, Glor?
I forgot to bring my books with me to
That's okay.
my desk here, so I don't have my books to show you. But I recently finished The Other Black Girl, which was a book of the month selection. Book of the month a few months ago got a lot of backlash for not having enough diversity in their selections. So I've been trying to support some of the more diverse selections that they do have. And it sounded really interesting to me. So, as Val said, I like the thrillers, I like the murder mysteries, I like the psychological thrillers, the effed up stuff that happens. I like that. It sounded like it was going to be a lot more kind of suspense than it was. I don't think I gave it a very good review. It took me a very long time to read it, but that might be also because I've had a lot going on work-wise for me too. I work in healthcare and I teach at a college, so I've had a lot going on. So I haven't really had a lot of time to read. So I think it took me a long time to get through, but then it was also just very slow. And I want, like, looking back now, it's like, okay, there's a lot of things she could have put in there that she didn't, that could have like moved the story along a little bit, or like created a more suspense, that just didn't really happen. And then like in the last like 30 pages, everything comes out, and it's like, okay, why didn't you talk about that for the last 300 pages?
Yeah.
So it was very slow. And it was like, by the time I got to it, it was like, all right, just tell me what it is already. Just tell me what's going on here. But I just started, it's called The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell, who is, I think, currently my favorite author right now. This is like the 5th book that I've read by her. And I've loved them all. They're the psychological thriller, murder mystery type of books that I like. So it's about a young couple who, you know, like goes out for the night, you know, young new parents go out for the night, and they never come back. And then it goes, like, you flash forward a year later, and somehow the stories are going to intertwine. This woman moves with her boyfriend and is out on a walk and finds a tree that has a note like stuck to the tree that says "dig here," and somehow these two stories are going to overlap. So,
Oh, interesting.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah, well, it's Lisa Jewell, so
Yeah.
I'm in for it, because I like her books. I like them a lot. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now.
Okay, that's all our segments. So thank you for joining us for our first episode. If anyone thinks we sound perhaps a little familiar, it's because we had an audio podcast a long time ago. Yeah, it's like
Also called Knit-Sips?
also called Knit-Sips. And that was, I believe I was pregnant with my children when we did that. So that was
Pregnant with one of them. I don't
yeah.
remember.
So that was at least 10 years ago, between 10 and 13 years ago. But we're, you know, we're technologically savvy now. So we're a video podcast. You can all laugh along with us when you think back to George crawling by. All right. Anyway, so you can find us online. We're going to be on Instagram you can go to @KnitSibs, and that will be our main area that you can find us. So thank you all for joining us. And I think we're going to try and do about every other 2 weeks. We'll see how regular we can be, but that's what we're going to shoot for. So thank you all. Bye. Happy knitting.
Bye. Happy knitting. Hold on. We're going to have to pause and edit this out. Hold on 1 second. There's an effort to get I took Scout out before we started recording, but George came home and now Scout's going crazy and wants to go out, and I'm sitting by the back door. So he's like trying to crawl out behind me. Are you taking her out?
Tell George I'm totally leaving it in.
I say we leave it in.
Are you going to take her out the front of the back?
I feel like I was trying to interrupt you, but you paused.
You were like slamming cabinets. It was already interrupting. Thank you for the effort, though. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so.
Can I, if I get something, can we edit it out, me getting up to go get my bag?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we pause this and start again, because we're hitting our 40 minutes.
Well, I just got a thing that it was extended.
Oh, okay. Then I'll
By
edit
the
out.
host, extended it for indefinite amount of time.
Oh, I think we get like one of those. All right.
Okay.
So go
Let me
ahead, go
get
get what you need.
It's right here.
Oh,
Okay. So,
we don't have to edit that out, Flora.
okay. You got to look at my sweater.